And my guest today is actor, director, many different hats she wears. Breton Tyner-Bryan. Breton, thanks for stopping by. How are you?
I'm doing well, Neil. How are you? Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. Talk about, you've done a lot of things in your career. What came first? Writing, directing, act. You do so many different things.
That's such an amazing question. I mean, I think it's totally from getting dressed up, playing make believe, and sort of incorporating all those worlds together. So I think it's just building a world as a child that had all those pieces in it, that had acting and writing in a sense and directing. But originally, I'm a ballet dancer, and I grew up in the ballet world, and I was a photographer from a young age. So I think those two mediums definitely are the origin of the love affair, but also shaped where I am today.
So from ballet to acting, how did that go? Like, how was that transition?
I mean, I grew up in a time when you had I was exposed to three act ballets that were all narrative from like a really young age. And I grew up my dad was taking me to a lot of theater. So we were all sort of expected to act as well as dance in those child roles that were available in those ballets. But I was also kind of acting up in ballet school. I would do anything to like get a laugh. And in ballet school at that time, like there's no talking. You're just sort of you're following along and showing what's been showed to you back physically. So I would kind of like do anything for a laugh and would often impersonate my teachers behind their backs and have a grand old time. So there was a theatrical element to it, but I was also very serious about it at times. But I mean, dancers are hilarious. At their best, they're hilarious. They're total physical impersonators.
So then you said, I got to act then, right from there.
Yeah, there was a moment where I was like, I want to use my voice. I want to push myself in that way. I sort of would do impersonations, and impressions and voices, and that was always kind of in the mix. Just, I would say like socially and entertaining friends and making people laugh. And then I wanted to kind of step into that to own that, I think. And that's also developed into writing as well. Like you're owning the voice of yourself, but really how you see all these other characters and how you bring them to life. And that process, I kind of had to hide a little bit. I was a dancer at the time in terms of who I was auditioning for, and the casting directors that got to know me. And then sort of later on, I could kind of say like, hey, I actually also do this.
So you did that, and then you said when you learned from acting, I'm sure that you said then that you performed so many different things. What made you want to be behind the camera
I
or behind the
Yeah,
production? Yeah.
totally. I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I'm a chameleon in many ways, but I'm also a very particular, specific energy. I'm 5'10", I'm athletic. I look the way I look. I don't look like a lot of people. I'm definitely a hybrid. And so there is a certain number of roles I can play or that I can play well, even if I am that chameleon in many ways. And for me, getting to play with all those characters, all those energies, I love that. I honor that. Really enjoy getting to work with actors because they're bringing their life's experience to everything they do and say in a way that I could never necessarily replicate. Maybe I could impersonate it, but to me, that's like such a gift. So it's just like a myriad of flavors and colors and lifetimes that you're lucky enough to get to play with and create for and write for. And I love that that's infinite beyond, my frame, my capabilities, my desires. I've been a performer my whole life. While it is relaxing in many ways, it's also very, for me, it's a one note of self-involvement, and I very much enjoy the maximalist approach of working with lots of other people's energies and identities and life experiences.
Interesting. So then kind of is this in a way of doing all of it something new for you with rhythm or smooth? Is it kind of like this is something, or you've done something before like this?
That's a
Where
great question. I think, I mean, we built, I've for sure built to this scale at this moment in my life. In my career, there's scenes in the film where we have like 100 people. That was like a wonderful, exciting experience and challenge to, but I also was very aware that I felt very comfortable in those moments. I feel very comfortable on set when all eyes are on me and I'm running the room. But that comes from like having a dance company, where maybe we started with 3 people and then we got to 12 and that would tour. And I made productions specifically for those very like original and unique dancers and performers. That was in New York and San Francisco. I also would create productions that had like 7 to 10 people in them. So I think it was going there, and it also came about of just like giving that creative freedom to myself and to other people, and I really enjoyed that. Or letting people perform or dance in a different way or with different people than they'd had the opportunity to before. Um, that was exciting at the time for sure. So I think it's definitely like we've been preparing for it. But I also think the pieces that I've been, I was dancing in the corps in ballet companies in high school, and so I'm in like these environments with lots and lots of people. Have like huge crew. You have like, huge audience all the way to the balcony. You have corps de ballet that might be, 40 people on stage. You have symphony. So I was sort of already like accustomed to how you organize the volume of those energies and bodies.
So you're already in a way a director, even though this is interesting of you being a director of your own, of something you wrote yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked my like kindergarten teachers to profile me, they would probably say I was like conducting things in the
You know, and I
classroom.
always ask
So,
people that have, I know you've been a producer before, like looking at producer and director, what's the difference? A lot of people don't get that. They
mm.
kind of where they think they're almost the same, but they're not. They're similar in certain ways. Kind of define the difference, between those two.
Sure. I mean, like, I think if you're going to be good at either one, it's good to know both sides. Creative and capital go hand in hand, but you're organizing different elements, I think, of production, whether you're organizing energies and creative or you're organizing systems that let that creative run. I mean, more and more I produce. There's a lot of people I speak with who are like showrunners, writers originally that they produce to get the project done because they can see the pieces and the way to kind of move it. That being said, my passion obviously lies with writing and directing. And I think I mean, I have a lot of friends that I think are really good at. They also have math brains, and I appreciate that so much. And they really, really enjoy crunching those numbers and reallocating resources, and that works for them. I have no desire to sit ever. So for me, like some producers are on their feet, some producers are on a laptop. For me, I'm much happier on my feet with my actors. And it's funny, like when we're in post, I'm like aware of how much I miss them terribly. And even when I'm writing, if I'm not going to get to see them in the next 6 months, it's hard for me too. So I think that's the compass for me is that I enjoy the possibility of creating something beyond the structure, I think. And I think producers are, the best ones are just providing the utmost structure to deliver that creativity.
And because this is dance, you felt that even though you wrote this, this is perfect for you to direct because of your experience in dance. Would you agree?
Yes, I hadn't thought about that. I wasn't going to do a dance film and I wasn't going to do something in New York, and then here we are.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I
You
think
you said just you're in LA in your mind. So go ahead. We'll go with that.
yes, yes. I mean, what does that say about what does that say about avoiding oneself or circling all the way back round to arrive at who you are in New York City? Um, yes, I think I'm well prepped to have created this really amazing sort of monster of an ensemble cast and production that has so many elements, and I think. Yeah, the opportunities that come to you are often like what's aligned for you and what's designed. But I also think it's a full circle moment because, like I said, when I was auditioning as an actor, it's not so much the case now, but at that time, I really had to kind of like hide the dancer piece because sometimes there's sort of judgment on whether you can or cannot act, and so I think it's like anything. All the things you've experienced are always there. It's just like when you're ready to kind of be who you are
Yeah.
and pull those like pieces all together. And I think, the more experiences you have, the richer what you have to offer as a director or anything in life is. So yeah, here we are.
I got it. I got it. So let's talk about it. Now you wrote this, so this is your brainchild. So how did you come up with it?
It's definitely inspired by all of the wild characters in New York City, many of whom I've come in contact with, but I wanted it to have like an intergenerational sort of lens so that everybody who watches it can see themselves in it, whether it's who they were, who they'll become, who they might aspire to be. Because to me, that's my life experience. That's what I relish about my relationships is the different vantage points based on age, generation, and I think we really need that right now. And that's also just what I see happening in New York. Everybody's here. regardless of age. They're still like in the same ecosystem, even if they're having a different experience. So there's that at play. And then it's sort of just like a comedic expose of like the intensity of appetite and drive
Mhm.
in New York City and how that level of exaggeration I find to be like closer to the truth. And I really appreciate that. New Yorkers will really show up for one another and they will also like lose it on you in a split second. So there's sort of like there's no fat. It's right to the point, whatever that is, whether it's generosity or an antagonistic behavior or camaraderie support. So there's like everything is intense basically. And I sometimes that's a lot, but other times I appreciate it because there's sort of like a no bullshit attitude about how they exist. And that can be really funny and ridiculous sometimes, but it's also like they're being exactly who they are. So I honor that. And comedy's always like pretty close to the bone. It's not usually that far from it. So
I got it. And did this take the movie take place in the storyline present time?
yes, it's
Okay.
present day New York City,
Mhm.
and I think what, differentiates it is like the different locations we shot in and how they're really paramount to the like different emotional ecosystems based on color, based on time that we exist in. And again, they're like supremely New York environments that I'm so lucky to have access to here.
Right.
I can know about them. I can build the relationships to sort of bring those into the fold because I live here. And so I'm like acutely aware that I
Yeah.
could not have made this film at another time in my life. And I have gratitude for that. But also, like, I couldn't have made it if I hadn't lived here or been here like over a decade. There's sort of like a currency, a fluency, a speed. And, the price of living here emotionally is high. So I think, it's kind
Yeah.
of, it's like, okay, there's celebration in that sort of like a culmination of the past decade.
The competitiveness of New York, the no, nonstop, it doesn't stop, never sleep New York.
So like,
All those things come into play, don't they?
yeah, yeah, it's like it's just full on for better or worse. But I think too, as an artist, it polishes you and pushes you to sort of be the best version you can be. And it tells you when to pivot, when to listen, when to lay low, when to get back up. It builds a muscle that in any field really, that I don't know how that would be created elsewhere. And I think it serves its purpose. And don't get me wrong, I love other places, but it's definitely pushed me to be who I am.
So ballroom dance, that's again, I believe it really got its big push after Dancing with the Stars, that people more and more look into ballroom dancing. And now with all the other things that are out there and everything, it's such a popular genre and everyone wants to learn it, right? It
Yeah,
sounds like.
which I love to because I think, I've grown up in the dance world in a way that's quite privileged, and not everybody has like even knows about those worlds or has access to that level of training. And I was just like super lucky in many ways. The teachers I came in contact with as a child. But what I love about ballroom dance is like anybody can participate in the art form at any age, any time, hopefully any location. And I think that's like what dance should be. That's the best thing of dance is that it's inclusive and it's celebratory and it's like there's so many initiatives right now too that like dances health and mind, body, and spirit. Like, I think that's, it's for better or worse, it's like it could be the club. I'm not saying it's the club, but it's like bodies are meant to dance and move. It's not a new tradition culturally. And I think
Yeah.
if that's how people are like accessing it, experience it, or like they see someone on TV and they go, oh my gosh, that could be me. Or that's my friend, or that's my grandmother, or like, hey, we dance like that in the kitchen. I think all of that visibility for dance is so valuable and beautiful.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the premise really quickly.
Sure. So, Rhythm or Smooth, set in present day New York City, is about a deflated, uh, down on his out champion. Down on his out. Oh my gosh, can I go again?
I'll
Can I
edit
go
that. Don't
again,
worry.
Neil?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Oh my gosh, too many interviews today, but like this is like the most fun. Okay, we're back. So
Yeah. That's cool.
So Rhythm or Smooth, set in present day New York City. is about like two classes structures coming together that need each other to basically win a championship. And ultimately, they realize that the win is their relationship of dancing together and not necessarily what's perceived as a prize. You have an affluent, well-to-do Upper East Side African American young woman who wants to buy her way into a championship and sort of befriends down on his outluck champion who's been working as an escort at the society balls where they meet. So you really have like appetite and class clashing and coming into contact with one another as they most often do in New York City every second of every day. But I think what the wonderful message of the film too is that we all need each other. All sides need each other. Art needs all of the other patrons it can have, but that the win of it all is dancing together, regardless of where you come from.
Now, you as a former ballerina, were you interested in ballroom dance as well?
I had the opportunity to sort of like meet ballroom first through television, and spectacle and through movies um, like Strictly Ballroom. And I love Baz Luhrmann's aesthetic, and I think there's such an appetite and competitiveness that's like visually on display and like in the structure of how people participate in it and like the spectacle of it. That was like so appealing because ballet is really, there's so much competition as well, but it's in ballet, you're not trying to show the effort necessarily. You're sort of trying to be quite the opposite in a most miraculous way. And I celebrate that as well. But yeah, the loudness of it was like really appealing. It's always been appealing. It's like I didn't grow up in sequins, but I like sequins. So it's like
I
if
got it.
I grew up in tutus, so the sequins are always calling, I would say.
So, where is the best place people can see this film?
That's a great question. We're hoping to have it out in the next 3 months, and we're happy to update you on like where that's going to be specifically.
Okay, so you're going to do the film festival route, or are you going straight?
We're gonna do a little bit of it. We're gonna do a little bit of it. But yeah, we're looking to kind of share it with as many people as possible. So that's the conversation is like, what's the best vehicle to really share it with a mainstream audience?
Got it. That's the biggest challenge as an independent filmmaker. Where to go, where to deal with it. I'm learning more and more about this each and every day. And it's like every struggle as me as a podcaster. How do I get it out as an independent anywhere I can, anywhere I want? How to get more syndication? How to get more and more people to see it? Same
Yeah,
deal.
absolutely. And like
Same.
there's so many different like mediums right now too, where you can like share what you're doing to then get people to watch like a longer form content. I mean, my experience with the festival circuit too is that, different places like different projects of mine. So you're kind of like the energy and the response is sort of telling you in some ways like where to place it, where to go with it. So that's my experience and success with the festivals is kind of listening to that instead of like deciding that you think it's going to be, you know, these five or these 12 or these 25, that sometimes it's just about like one really special festival that illuminates, understands it, appreciates it, and that can launch you and the project. And that's like a really great feeling too, because there's relationships that are built with those producing teams that I mean, they work so hard to bring those festivals and those filmmakers forth. So I appreciate them.
So, Breton, where's the best place people can find information now on the film and all the different things? Where can they go?
So they can follow me. They don't have to follow me, but they can find me on Instagram at Breton Tyner-Bryan. And all of our updates are going to be coming there for Rhythm or Smooth.
All right, sounds good. Thanks again.
Pleasure. Thanks, Neil.
You're welcome. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.